Hey everybody, thanks for joining me as I take a look at another stack of metal CDs. And we're going to start off with a couple from 2025. The first one being from the Visceral Abyss by Spanish Black Death band Titan Blood. So this is the fourth full-length album released on Norma, Evangelium, Diaboli, and it's been a bit of a wait since the last one, about 6 years in fact. And I would say this is a much more digestible affair than what came beforehand. Better production, less hellish ambient soundscape stuff that was more present on prior albums. A greater presence of lead guitar, and I even detect a bit more of a rock and roll feel in the riffing here. But make no mistake, this is a deadly serious stuff, and I would say Titan Blood are definitely one of the best bands in the Black Death style right now. My favorite tracks are probably the title track from the Visceral Abyss, number 6, And Darkness Was All. Who could forget the 15-minute closer, Tomb Horror's Hair Specs, another highlight that needs to be heard to be believed. And look at that, the interlude track, 700 Dogs from Hell. That is basically what you're hearing on that. Titan Blood from the Visceral Abyss. Check it out. Our next 2025 release is going to be Cometh the Storm, the 9th and most recent full-length album by American heavy metal band High on Fire. This came out on MNRK Records. So, High on Fire, as you know, the main project of Matt Pike, also of Sleep. I have a couple albums, seen them live a couple times. I totally dig them when I hear them. But I have to admit, as the years have gone on, just kind of listening to album after album, it started feeling kind of samey to me and not something I needed to spend a ton of time with. But actually, this is one of those releases that I just was browsing around on Amazon and they were clearing this out for $7-8. So had to swoop that one up. And I'm happy I did. I mean, again, as much as I find High on Fire kind of samey, I love this style of stoner metal. And stoner metal seems like kind of a silly term, but I think it totally fits High on Fire. It's heavy metal, but it's like the riffs are doomy, but they're more fast and aggressive. And then you got Matt's trademark raspy vocals, definitely also more of a metal thing. So this album hasn't really changed my mind, but it's good stuff, just not very interesting. However, I'm going to be a little bit of a hypocrite here because my favorite songs on here are probably the opener, Lamb's Bread, and then Saul's Golden Curse, which I think had the best riffs on here, and scratch that itch that High on Fire can do. So next up, Arcana, Scrying, and Revelation, the third full-length album from Australian black thrash band Mongrel's Cross, released on Hell's Headbangers in, I believe, 2020. Indeed, black thrash is a good place to start, but it's a really fun, riffy album that in many ways reminds me of something like Argus-Slint, but upon further listening, I started thinking it was more like a black thrash meets Swedish melodic death metal. Something like Dissection or Dawn. But surprisingly, again, further listens, I'm thinking it's more than anything taking influence from early In Flames and Dark Tranquillity. That's really what I came away from it with. One thing about this album is Proscriptor from Absu. He joined the band on this album on vocals and drums. Instantly recognizable as him, both his drumming and vocal style, but it's more of a restrained approach to vocals and drums on here compared to what he does in Absu. Favorite tracks here, the opener, Suffer the Witch to Live, and What the Cards May Tell. That's probably my favorite track on here. Finally, we're going to look at another Hell's Headbanger release. This is We Have Scorn by Ohio death metal band Shed the Skin. So this one came out in 2018. It's their second album out of 5. And they've really been putting out an album every 2 years since 2016. A supergroup of sorts containing many luminaries of the Ohio death metal scene. Most famously, you have Kyle Severin of Incantation, who I know Incantation are a New Jersey band, but apparently Kyle lives in Ohio. He handles the drums here. And then the other members, look on Metal Archives, I saw past and present members of Ringworm, Faith Extractor, From the Depths, Crucified Mortals, all kinds of connections. And to be honest, I held off on listening to this band. Just being honest, I find it kind of a boring band name, and a lot of the artwork seems to have kind of a similar feel to it. Standard death metal, so just didn't seem promising to me, but I was pleasantly surprised. I'd consider this full spectrum death metal. Sometimes it's fast, sometimes it's slow, sometimes it's simple, sometimes it's technical, melodic, sometimes brutal, old school, new school. So it's pure death metal, but with great variety. And I'm surprised to see how much I like this one. My favorite tracks on here are Luminous Transgression and Trepanning Sanity. Thanks for joining me today. Kind of a quick one. Stop in with a little New Year's check-in, and hopefully I'll be releasing more videos than I have been in 2026 than I did in 2025. So thanks again, and see you later.